Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss dating after narcissistic abuse. So dating after narcissistic abuse is something that every survivor of narcissistic abuse will eventually do again. So I thought, why not discuss it? Now, most of us will feel exhausted and say never again after the horrible experience we've been through with a narcissist. However, there will come a time when you'll feel ready. But the question is, how do you go about it? Can you trust again? What if you come across another narcissist? Now, these are all viable questions. And the one thing I will say to start off with is that you will need to address any core wounds or core beliefs and also your core values before you do anything else. Now, when people ask me, how do I begin dating after narcissistic abuse? I say don't. Now, my advice would be to take some time out, because the first thing that you need to focus on is not dating again, but learning about yourself. It's important to take some time, and I say at least a year, to understand yourself, to get to the bottom of why you experienced that in the first place and why you experienced all the things you've gone through, even going before that relationship happened. It's important to break things down and analyze why you got into the relationship and, most importantly, stayed in it with a narcissist. So questioning if there are any old core wounds that need addressing, like I said, is very important. Most people that have experienced narcissistic abuse have also experienced some form of trauma in their past. Now, that may have been in childhood from parents or family. The environment that we grew up in literally shapes us and how we think. So if we grew up in a narcissistic household with a mother who was one, for example, we'll grow up feeling unworthy, people-pleasing, having low self-worth, no boundaries, etc. And that will then translate into our adult relationships in one way or another. So for many, that's by attracting something very similar, which turns out to be a narcissist. Some people try fixing how they feel by jumping into another relationship, i.e. a rebound relationship. Now, if we've not taken the time to evaluate our standards, we're only compounding our attraction to toxicity if the new flame is toxic too. Now, it may feel good initially, but not because it's good for us, but because it's more familiar. And this is why it's so vital to take time out after experiencing this kind of abuse and put the focus on self. It will not only contribute to your growth as a person, it will also help you to identify red flags if they do come up. So I say be your own rebound. Start getting to know who you are authentically and extend the same kind of love, support and compassion you want to offer someone else. Give that to yourself, because the most important relationship you have is first and foremost with yourself. So what does love actually mean to you? And I know that's a deep question, but it's an important one, and one I hardly see mentioned when it comes to dating again. Finding out what the emotion of love actually means to you, I feel, is key. It's what you'll expect and accept from another person. So using my story as an example, growing up, I clearly didn't know the true meaning of love. I grew up with a mother who was a malignant narcissist. So I didn't have a great model of what love actually was. So to me, growing up, love was conditional. It was about focusing on making the other person happy at the expense of my own happiness. So love to me was about abandoning my authentic self and core values. So there's no wonder why I attracted toxic relationships moving forward. So what does love mean to you? And I mean the emotion of love. What does it bring up for you? So think of examples of when you felt love, yet you felt like you were always compromising. When you understand this, you can get to the root of where any issues lie. If deep down love has any negative connotations, that's the foundation on which you're going to build relationships on. Just going to go over dating and trusting, because I think trusting really comes into it. And I know you're probably wondering how on earth you'll be able to trust anyone again. And it's risky deciding to step into a new relationship, even after taking time out. It's scary because, as we've experienced, you never really know who someone is. There's another way of seeing things, though, that can shift the focus of trusting another. And the way to do that is by trusting yourself. That's where your power is. We can never, ever control what others do, but we do have control over ourselves and what we choose to do. So the emphasis shouldn't be on how will I trust them and what if they turn out like the others. The truth is they might just turn out like the others, but it's your job to be able to figure that out in time. And that means trusting yourself. When you see the signs, the red flags, you don't just justify or excuse them. You say, nope, I'm out of here. And you just walk away. Take your time and let someone show you who they are. In narcissistic relationships, everything moves so quickly. So that's as not to give you the time to analyze things in a rational way. Given time, you will see someone's character and the way that they intend to treat you. And with narcissistic relationships, I think we can all agree that the mask eventually falls off given time. So if we make a conscious choice to not let our fantasies or ideals about the relationship or that person to cloud our judgment, we can see things for what they truly are. So trust your intuition and gut is one of the things that the narcissist targets, our own perception of how things are. So you may have to do the extra work to just trust your own perception of reality again. But once you do it, it will be hard for anyone to try and pull the wool over your eyes. So, as I was saying, people will always put their best foot forward initially, but let them prove themselves with time. It's our job just to recognize what doesn't quite feel right and act accordingly just to protect ourselves. So what do you want in a dating relationship? How can we get what we want if we don't know exactly what we want and don't want? Clearly, we know what we don't want, having gone through narcissistic abuse. However, we will focus on the qualities and characteristics we do want in a person and relationship. Now, I recommend writing a list, and some examples are caring, compassionate, friendly, honesty, responsible, emotionally available, reliable, consistent, empathetic, loyal, humble, authentic, generous, polite, loving, encouraging. I can go on. So also think about how you'd like to feel in your relationships, because someone might have all the qualities that you want, but you might feel awful in the relationship. So also think about the qualities you want. So to be loved, respected, admired, protected, happy, seen, heard, honored, valued, cherished. When you've made your list, also look at it carefully and see whether you have the same characteristics that you've written down. And the reason I say this is because we always attract who we are. If you want someone who has compassion, do you have compassion? If you see any qualities you don't possess, then you need to work on building them up. The next thing to do is to set your intention. So now you know the characteristics you want and how you want to feel. Let's get intentional. Being very deliberate about what you want is what will bring you what you want. And here's an example of what you could write down. You could say something like, my intention is to have a relationship that suits me and to be with someone who's caring, considerate, honest, who looks after themselves and has a wonderful character and nature. The best partner for me is faithful to me, adores me, is attractive, has emotional intelligence, and knows how to communicate effectively. They understand how to navigate difficult situations, and they've got great conflict resolution skills. We evolve together and have a happy, healthy foundation for our relationship. In this relationship, I feel like I can be myself, be vulnerable, and be open. We both do. I feel safe, supported, respected, encouraged, and protected by my partner, and they are someone I can rely on. Now, you could use that as an example to write your own, but I really do encourage you to write one. And don't forget to take some kind of action in terms of setting your intention, and that may mean getting out there and not being afraid to meet new people. So take your time. If the person you're dating wants to move things far too quickly, you need to quickly recognize it's a red flag. Just go back and remember what it was like when you first met the narcissist. Wasn't it really quick? What's the rush? You've already learned after your experience that it's a ploy to take over your emotions and your life. One of the best ways to repel that kind of behavior is to take things really slowly, regardless of how they want to control things. A person who's generally interested in getting to know you properly and has good intentions, they'll take their time with you. If they come across as being like in a mad dash, I suggest you make a mad dash in the opposite direction. No one really knows anyone in the early stages. We don't know them and they don't know us. I understand the fear survivors of narcissistic abuse have when dating again. However, if we can pause for a minute and realize we have control over things, that fear will dissipate. We never know what the future could bring, so try not to walk in fear as to who this person could turn out to be. Because getting to know someone takes time, and this is why I feel that time is your greatest friend when it comes to dating at this point in your life. Only invest in them as much as they healthily highlighted and in bold, invest in you. If they start showing red flags early on, don't ignore them. Don't justify them. Don't glide over them. Notice them and do something about them, even if that means walking away early. Honor and respect your own boundaries and intuition. So I understand your fears and worries about dating again and attracting another toxic person. It's quite common. Just be okay with the fact that you probably will somewhere along the way. Just be like, yeah, I might just attract another narcissist. But don't have fear about it. Just have assurance instead that you've done the necessary work on yourself and trust yourself to never open the door and leave the door open to another toxic relationship. And also remember that your relationship with yourself is the most important one and the one upon which all others will be built. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll speak to you in the next video.